Welcome, everyone around the world. It is amazing to see so many global folks from all over joining us today. I'm Audra Lindsay from the Mighty Networks team. I'm so excited to have so many of you here today to show you what's coming next with our courses release. We have been plotting up some amazing updates to the courses feature that's available with the business plan on Mighty Networks. You may also be playing around with it if you're on a free trial or exploring Mighty Networks. This session is going to give you a really insider's view into what's coming next. And we are planning to release all of these updates that we're going to show you. We're looking at the first week of March right now, so just keep that in mind. It's not live yet, but it will be very soon. And yeah, lots of good stuff. I want to introduce my colleague, Tom, our head of product, who's going to take us through the tour today.
Hi, everyone.
So good to have you here. So before we kick things off, I'm going to hand over the reins to Tom in just a couple minutes, but I wanted to cover a few things. For those of you who are joining us, or if you or halfway through, or you may have to leave, the recording will be available here at this same link. If you come back later today, as soon as it's over tomorrow, you can share this with your colleagues, your fellow hosts, your friends, anybody you think would benefit from this video, please share it. So the replay will be here. We'll also be posting it later in a few various places, but come here if you want to watch it again. And if you have questions throughout the tour today, we definitely want to capture your questions. So I'm on hand here. I'm signed in as Mighty Networks, but you'll see Marnie from our team, Shin from our team, and Jessica and Catherine and a few other folks. They're going to be here in the chat answering questions that you might have. But if you actually have important questions you want answered during the tour or afterwards, we're going to do a Q&A. The best thing to do is to put them in that Ask a Question section along the bottom that you see right there where it says that. So we can add answers, links, resources for you right there throughout the session, but we'll also be mining that Ask a Question section for questions for the Q&A with Tom at the end in case there's anything that wasn't clear that we want to cover later, get more clarity around. So I think that's the most of it for my housekeeping items. Really excited to have you all here. I'm really excited for you to see what we're up to and what we're doing with courses. Tom, I'm going to hand it off to you, and I'll see you guys in the chat and add those questions down there.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. I'm really excited to be here. It's very exciting to see all of our customers, potential customers from all over the world, and it's really fun for you to join. And I think that what we're going to be able to show you today is really going to be exciting. I am getting over a cold, so if I cough a little bit here and there, I'm real sorry about that. It's been going on for a while, but I think I'm at the tail end. Let me just say right from the beginning, before I even start showing you what we're doing, if it's not apparent to you, we do listen to your requests, and we really, it's a hard balance because we're a small team, but we really care about delivering to you an amazing product. We know that you have, entrusted your businesses, your communities to us, and we take that responsibility very seriously. And to a person here, we are 100% dedicated to your success. Now, that doesn't mean that we can do everything. And so I'm going to show you all of the course features we were able to kind of pack in this last development cycle. We think they're really awesome. It doesn't cover every single thing that anyone's ever asked for. Make your requests known. If there's something that's missing, you don't have to do it here, but at any point, send us information. If there's other things you want, tell us. We try to reach out, but we do listen. Here's the thing is that I think with the changes we've made to courses, this set of changes, we have taken our course software up to the level of any of the course platforms that are out there. But, and this is really important, we combine that with best-in-class community experience. Community is at the heart of everything we do here, and mixing courses with community is the dream that we set out from the very beginning. That was the important thing. It wasn't just building courses. It wasn't just building community. It was building both together in a seamless experience. And I think we're going to be able to achieve that with this release in a way that we haven't in the past yet. I'm going to show you a prototype. I'm not going to show you the actual website right now because I can control a prototype, and we're still working on the QA process right now. And so there's bugs on the actual product that we're working on, and so I can't show that off. What I'm going to show you is almost exactly the same as what you'll see when it's released. But you might see some weird awkwardness here and there or something. I might have to restart the prototype here or there. Just ignore that, bear with me. Okay, so the big first headline I want to say is you can now switch between a content-focused course, where content is the thing you're delivering, and a community-focused course. And I'm going to talk a lot more about this and how we're delivering this here in the next couple of minutes. So why don't we get started? I'm gonna let me share my screen here, and then I'm going to switch over to this prototype. Give it a second; it's going to reload. And we're going to start here on the courses list. Now we're all super familiar with the courses list. You can see my bundles here at the top, and then some courses. And I'm gonna go into one of these courses. You're going to see a lot of changes, and I'm going to start with this course that I'm a host of. So I'm going to start kind of from the host perspective, from the perspective of creating the course, because there's a lot of things there that have changed. And I'll switch over to a member's view every once in a while. But I will say that you'll be able to tell from even the host upgrades what the member experience will be like, or how it'll benefit your members. I think it'll be pretty apparent. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to go to this course here. And the first thing you're going to notice, is that there's not a feed here on this page. This is what we call the table of contents page. We've split this apart from the activity feed. So in the past, the activity feed was below what you'd call the course content, the table of contents, the stuff that comes in this course. We've split those apart. You see the activity feed is on its own tab here in the left drawer. So I go there, and that's the activity feed you're kind of familiar with. It's called activity feed instead of home. We're changing the name because we want to focus on home having one location, and that is your main Mighty Network activity feed. That's home. And then anywhere else, we call it an activity feed, just to help keep a separation between the two things and not to confuse. So why did we split these apart? So first of all, there were some historical reasons from long ago that they even were combined in the exact same page. So that was one reason. We just needed to clean up what we'd done in the past because it didn't make sense anymore. Now it's nice because we can load this course content fully expanded. We don't have all of the collapsed sections because we're not competing with the activity feed below it. Before, if you have a very long course content and we loaded all of that expanded, the activity feed would be far down below, and that's not ideal. And so we had to try and kind of cram it up, keep it all tight. Now we're not doing that, so it just has its own page. Okay, so the activity feed itself has some cool new options. But before I kind of talk about what those options are, let me talk a little bit about some of the use cases that we see that you all have for courses. They range from what you might call an evergreen course, which is a bunch of course content that I sell, and people go in and at their leisure and at their time frame, they consume that content. They pay for that experience, or however you want to, deliver that. They go through all that course content, and it's kind of at their pace. So that's one way of delivering a course. I create all the content, I deliver it, you get it when you want it, great. On the polar opposite side of that is I want a community experience. I want to bring people together almost like you would live in an actual classroom. And we're going to talk about the material. The material is part of the course, But that's not the main focus. The main focus is the discussion, or the time we spend together. That's a community-focused course. And we want to be able to deliver that, both of those, and the one in between, which is right now I'm using a course platform somewhere. I have a community on a Facebook group. I'd really like to combine those two things. And that was our original focus with courses, is to just, deliver a way to have courses and community together, to kill off the need to have some weird separate Facebook group that's totally different than the course platform. Now it's all in one place. But then we started to see this whole range from people who wanted that evergreen course to people who wanted a complete focus on the community itself and the materials being secondary. So that's what we're now able to deliver. With the activity feed, you can now optionally turn off the activity feed. So the course content would be the only thing you have when you come to this page. You can turn off all commenting, all kind of interaction, and it can just be a repository of great information. Or conversely, if you want the activity feed and you turn it on, you can also make it the first place people land when they come to the course. So you'll have an option to make it the first place people land. So when they land, they first see the community part, and then they can go and peruse the content as they need to pull out a lesson or to grab a PDF. But the activity feed is where all the action is happening. Now you can have both, and it's up to you, and it's all configurable in the settings. And I'm going to go into some of those settings, not all of them, of how you're going to set that up. So let me just have some notes here. I just want to make sure I cover everything. So the second big headline is we wanted to make it much easier for members to find and consume your course content. I think we've taken a lot of big steps to that end, and let's talk a little bit about that. So first of all, it's consuming that content. We went back to you've seen over time lots of bugs, and I'll be the first to admit them, in loading the content, having things take a long time. We went back to the drawing board and just rebuilt the way we load the content. You'll see significant improvements in loading times and in just performance generally with a course. We've really spent a lot of time and a lot of effort on making sure that it's snappy and does what it needs to do well. We removed some of we had an automatic numbering system, which I think we created with the best intentions. It didn't work. We ripped it out. Now any numbering will just be done by you. If you do change sections or lessons, it does require that you go through and edit each page to change the numbering if you decide to use numbering, which you don't need to do. You'll also see that just generally we updated the look of the list. We made a little more clear hierarchy between the sections and the lessons inside. And remember, if you're new to courses, you can rename sections and lessons. They're not necessarily called sections, lessons, whatever you decide. But the lessons are kind of the base level item that you go and consume. And we're going to look at one in a minute, so you don't need to worry too much. Sections are gathering groupings of those lessons. So one of the really cool things with kind of re-looking at the table of contents list, the materials list, is that we decided to put a lot more of the editing and actions right here in this area. So now when you hover on any of the items, you'll see that you now can bulk select here and drag and drop here. So as you're creating your course and you decide to move things up and down. Now, if I were to grab this one right here, I can move the whole section up and down, or I can move individual lessons inside the section or out of the section into a different section. So you can do a lot of editing right here on the list. And beyond that, you'll see that you can jump right to editing the actual content of this section. You'll see a more menu here with a lot of options. And I think you'll be excited about some of those options. One of them, make hidden, same thing as before. Section settings, we're going to go into what the section settings are in just a minute. Duplicate section. That's right. We're going to be able to deliver complete duplication, not only of the course itself, but of individual lessons and sections inside the course. Awesome feature, long time coming, but we were able to get there. Also, just you'll still be able to collapse and control the opening and closing of sections, but we won't automatically have those closed when you load, unless, and I'll kind of show you this in a second, unless you're a member and you've already completed a section. And then what we do is we just automatically collapse the sections you've already completed, keeping your focus as a member going through the course on the things that are upcoming and not having to kind of wade through all the things you've already done. So let's just pop over real quick to what a member sees when they see the same list that I was just showing you. You'll notice that on the host experience, we don't have this card anymore, this large progress card. This is really critical for members to kind of keep their focus and tell them what's next. Although they can see what's next here in the list by the little indicator dot, it's nice to just have one place where we can just kind of call out where to go next. So they don't really have to, kind of sort through things. We removed that for hosts. It's not necessary. It wasn't necessary anymore. And it was just a bother. And so you'll see that, the host experience that's removed, members still have it. We still have the same kind of progress here going down on each of the items. And you'll also notice that now we have a progress bar that kind of shows you the percentage. And when you hover on that, I don't have it in the prototype, but it will show you the percentage of completion. So as a member, you can kind of see what the percentage of completion is and see where you're at and easily get to where you need to go next. Let's see here. So the overview. So you'll see that we still have the overview. The overview still resides at the very top of the table of contents. It now is able to be hidden, so you don't have to use it. But it is the first item in the list and remains there, and it can't be moved. The overview is a really great place for you to kind of lay out the rules of the road, give people kind of the first steps they need to take, what the expectations are for the course. Not always necessary, so that's why you can now hide that. But we find that it's a very useful tool for kind of setting the tone for the course. And so it still remains there at the top. And because it's the first item, we point right to it when you start and open that up first for people. And so they always will see those kind of rules or whatever you set up for the overview. Okay, so let me just open the overview. You see the still fly out, still the same experience that you have now. But what you'll see here is at the bottom, we have made some big changes. So you'll see on all overview, lessons, and sections, we have a new settings area that only hosts see that allows us to bring together all the settings that you need for the lesson or the overview or this or the sections into one place where you can easily go off to manage. And then we have this little summary of what those settings are here below. We've also taken a new look at the navigation area here below that. Currently, those cards are a little larger. They have images. We wanted to simplify that down to its essence. We flattened the list better so that we can more accurately guarantee that the thing that's next here in this card is the thing that is next for you. We've had some problem with that because of the way that the structure of the course was built before. Now we think that this should be really accurate and help people just know where to go next without having to close the overview. Although now with the list fully expanded right here, closing the overview and getting back is a lot easier than before. You'll also see the manage settings. I'm going to go in and show you the settings in a minute. First, let's just take a look at a section. Section top is basically the same as before. We've added a title here to the place where we show off what the lessons are in the section, just to make it a little more clear what's happening. We've also looked at these cards again and really taken out all the excess information. We've reduced them down in size to make it easier to kind of scan through them, and improved basically the way you go to edit these. Now you can just go and edit right from here as a host. Add a lesson here. You're still going to have the same functionality of dragging and dropping and combining, and everything you can do now in the overview you'll be able to still do on sections, but most of that work will be done outside on the table of contents page itself. Yeah, excuse me. I'm gonna just okay, so when I get down to this section, we see the same thing as before, a little settings area, the summary of settings that I have set currently, same navigation, a link to the to manage the settings like before. Oh. So let's check out a lesson. Similar thing. Same top, same settings area. Let's check out the settings here. You see that for a lesson, there's a big summary with a lot of different settings. The lesson has the most settings, and so because it has the most settings, I'm going to show it, and then everything else will just have a few less settings than that. So this is all the settings that are now possible. Visibility, this is the same thing as we have currently. The visibility lets you have things turned off, not visible or hidden, and then you can work on those as you're building up new lesson material or new course material. And then when you make it visible, the people who have access to your course will see it. Now, of course, just as a reminder, if your course is secret and you make everything visible inside of it, it's still secret, and only people who have access to the course will ever be able to see that secret stuff. So unlocking options, same thing as you currently have. Completion options, this doesn't change. Same thing. This is something new, thumbnail image. So currently, and this is the default, just in case you aren't familiar, the default system in an article right now or in any of your coursework is if you put an image at the, you're writing out the text and you add an image, the first and topmost image in that description, we pull out and use as the thumbnail. Sometimes that doesn't quite work because of a variety of circumstances. So now we're going to give you the option to maintain the default, which it automatically does a pretty good job most of the time. You can just leave it as is, or you can add a custom thumbnail image. And this will override the default, and you can do whatever you want here. And so if I go here, I'm going to be able to add a custom image. So I add my custom image. Because this is completely custom and you control it, you can decide whether or not you want to show a video play icon on it. That usually kind of indicates to people that there's a video associated with this section or lesson. But sometimes maybe you want to have just some text or a certain kind of image. And it's a given that there's a video, or you don't care that that's indicated there. Now you can turn it off or on. You have the choice. So I save that, and now I've selected custom, and I can go back and change the default at any time or edit that thumbnail. Assign instructor, this is the same thing as we currently have for the lesson. Turn on comments, same thing, we've maintained all of that. You'll see here that we have this little, I'll talk about preview in just one second here. Student view, same as, sorry, not the same. It's a new feature here in the settings. It just lets you kind of see how people are going to, how your students are going to see this lesson. And this is just to help you have a little more clarity on how it's being presented from the settings that you've set. So let's talk about preview. Currently on the overview, there's a setting that you can set to, or in your course settings, there's a setting for letting the overview be previewable. This allows a person who's not a member of your course to, when they see the card in the course list, to click on, we show a little preview button, and they can click on that and they can see the overview. And in that case, the overview has all the sections and lessons shown at the bottom, and so they can see all of that and they can kind of see the structure of the course. Well, we thought that wasn't good enough, and we had some bigger ideas for what should happen there. So now on every lesson or section or the overview, you're able to set individually if they're previewable. So you'd set that on here, and that lets this lesson specifically be seen by people who are not members of the course. And we will get into how that works in just a minute, because there's another setting that lets you decide where to show how to show off these previewable items, and so I'll talk about that in just a minute. Okay, so oh, I'm sorry, there was one more thing there in settings that we didn't get to. Down here, duplicate this lesson. So you'll see that that's available from the 3-dot menu on the table of contents list, or from the bottom of any lesson, and just to make it convenient and to call out where you can do it. So those are the big changes we made to the structure of the table of contents and the activity feed, and how you can manage and how people will consume the materials that you put in your table of contents. So let's kind of jump back to the course list, because I think that this is where we have a whole bunch of actually, before I do that, let me go over here. Let's go to the course settings. I'm going to show you one part of course settings. There's a few changes to course settings, but I'm not going to show all of those off. I am going to show this. This is really cool. You've always had the ability to just see the members here. When you're in the course, there's always a members list. That's the same members list, basically, that a member is able to see, but we stuck in, I think, the percentage of completion so that it was a little different on a course. But there's a lot more information that you as a host want to have when you look at members than a member of the course needs to have when they look at the other members in the course. And so we wanted to kind of reinvestigate how we can deliver more information at once. And we already have started down the road of showing more more of the information that you get in a table view. And so now, when you go to course members, this is very similar to what we currently have, but see all members is changed. So now when I come to see all members, and I'm going to expand this so you can see the whole thing, we have a whole table view of your members. A lot more information condensed into one space, makes it a lot more convenient. We also have added some new bits of information here that are going to be really useful as you communicate and talk with your members. Now we continue to show the percentage completion. Now, this is only if you have completion turned on, but the percentage of completion, the last completed lesson. So not only can you get a general idea of how far they are, you can get a specific idea of which is the last thing they completed. And then you can see the last lesson viewed. So you can kind of see where they've been, where they're at, and what they're looking at a little bit easier. And we also added date joined and last active here and the role. So you can take actions here just like you can on a normal member from the three-dot menu. You can filter by just hosts or just moderators, just members, and so you can better communicate and keep tabs on what's happening. And we're going to roll this out to more of the areas in your Mighty Network, generally, to more of the member lists that you access through settings. So there'll be kind of a side-by-side list. There'll be the member view list of members where it's a lot more about the image of the person and the high-level items. And then there'll be one for managing and kind of moderating where you're able to see a lot more information at once. So we're really excited about being able to deliver all that. Okay, so let's jump back here. Let's go back to the list. So I don't think we were satisfied. So we made those improvements and we were happy with the structure of the course. And I think that it will be a lot more power and a lot more easy to manage just generally. But there's still this whole, I have my courses, I want them to show up in a certain way. I want a little more control over this area of the course list. So what could we do? Well, the first thing we can do is just let you control the list. And so now on the All tab, you're going to be able to reorder the course list. And we will show it in whatever order you have. So here, there's a certified travel associate program that I was just at. It's the third thing down. There's the bundles, section of bundles. There's the one in between, and then mine. I'm going to pull that up to the top and save that. And there it's at the top. And that's just how it's going to be. So when members arrive on the All tab, they're going to see, and that will be the default page. They're always going to see the order that you have set. Top will continue to function kind of like it does, kind of like the main course list does presently. So we just kind of reorder it depending on activity or what's popular or what's happening. Yours stays the same and newest is the same as it is now. But that wasn't enough. So yeah, you can have some control over the course list. We think that's awesome. But outside of the courses list, you still want to put courses more front and center. And no better way to do that than featuring. So we already have a featured section, and now we will be allowing you to feature groups and courses in that featured section. So if I'm on my main home page on Mighty Networks, or my network, and I see the featured section, it could have a mixture of posts and courses or groups that I can go to, and also for the welcome section. So if you use a course as kind of an onboarding experience for people, imagine that now that can be a featured right in the welcome section so they can see that first thing. But when they get over here to courses, we will filter down that list, that featured list, down to just the courses. So I might have posts and other things in the featured section, but when I show up on courses, it's going to filter it down and just show me the courses that are featured. If I go to groups, it's going to show me just the groups that are featured. And if there's nothing featured, that section will hide. Okay, so let's go back. Oh, actually, let's go down and feature a course. So let's go down to the bottom one here, and you'll see here, duplicate course is right there. So you can duplicate the entire course or feature the course. And so I'm going to feature, and that shows off. And now, well, it didn't show up yet because I need to turn on the featured section. So I go back to reordering, and now I want to make visible the featured section. So you have the option to have that on or not. You don't have to, even if you do feature courses. And I'm going to drag that to the top just for illustration's sake here and save that. And now you see I have the featured section right at the top of my course list. All we want to do is give you, as hosts, the power to do things your way. And we're always trying to find ways to do that fit within our abilities and our time frames. But anytime we can give you more power to control things, the better. Okay, so that's awesome. But what about those previewable things? Let's talk about that for just a second. So I'm going to switch prototypes here. Go to a different one. It's going to take a minute to load. Okay, so this is a bundle plan that is an external bundle plan. So it's selling membership to my Mighty Network and access to a bunch of courses. This is like my awesome bundle that has all of my courses in it. So I come here, I say, oh, I'm interested in this one. I'm gonna pop this open and check it out. So here's the information that I'm presenting about this course. And if you create plans, you've seen this, but also when just you're writing up descriptions for the about page for a course, that it pulls a lot of that same information. So the instructors, the description, and now we see the table of contents. One quick note, I've been calling this table of contents. You can rename that to whatever you want to call it. So in this case, I'm calling it table of contents, but that could be named, that could be named course material or my super list or library or whatever you want. But wherever you name it, we'll show that as the name. In this case, again, table of contents. I see the table of contents. So this is everything that is my course is, and you'll see that the ones that I've marked for previewing have a preview button. Everything else just has the main action button. So in this case, it's buy because I'm selling this course, but it could be join or request access. So let's go into one that I can preview. So I'm going to open that up, and we're going to automatically open into the full screen. And now you'll see that I can preview that overview from before. Or I can go to another one here, because you'll see that the ones that I can't preview now are just marked with a lock icon, and everything else is open, and I can just open it up. So I open up this one, and I go down. I can see these lessons. So everything that you've marked as preview, I'm able to now explore. And so you can mark anything to just give people a taste of that lesson. But what if I want to go and click on one of these? We're going to allow that. But what we're going to do is show them a call to action, to take action to join, request access, or buy the course. So that's this, being able to see the table of contents will happen on both the plan pages and on the about pages that you're able to create. Okay, so that is basically all the big changes that we are making. I will make a quick note here before we go even into questions. If you're new to Mighty Networks or new to kind of thinking about using courses for the first time, new to community as a concept or as an offering for your company or your business, I would highly recommend that you take our community design course. Our I don't know, 7th, 6th, I don't know. It just started again in Mighty Hosts. Go to Mighty Hosts, check out community design course. I think to a person, it's been very valuable for those who have taken it. It's very intensive. You get a lot of one-on-one time with our community design team. Really worth it if you want to get more in depth on not just the mechanics of how the course works, but how you can make it valuable and useful, and how you can make your community valuable for people such that they're willing to actually pay money, real money, thousands of dollars for it. So I would totally recommend that. I think it's awesome. I'm not in it. But I get to be in the, on the outskirts of it. And I think it's a really great experience. And before I'm done and take some questions, one more thing. I'm not going to show this, but it's a thing that I think is pretty rad that we're able to slip in here. Actually, there's two things. Sorry. One of them is, so I showed you that awesome member list that you're able to get more information from. We've also taken a full sweep through the CSV, or the member download for people on the business plan. You're able to right now download a list of like a bunch of different kind of fields. We have vastly improved that, added a lot of new fields, reorganized the fields that we had, and made it a lot more consumable and useful. That's just another side project that we did as part of this, because it's all part of giving you more information and giving you more that you can act on. So look for that. That's going to come out just a little bit after we release the main part of courses. The last bonus, the one more thing bonus here is, as we started to think about that use case of, I just want to have kind of an evergreen course. The community is really secondary to what I'm doing. Or maybe I want to have all the focus on my course, but in the main Mighty Network, I want to just have a lot of control over what's happening there. We're going to give you the ability to control quick posts, just like you do articles today. Turn them off, or make them available just to hosts and moderators. So it's just the last remaining kind of content type that you weren't able to control. Now you're going to be able to control that. So that is my my spiel. I think I'm done. I'll take some questions now, I think, unless I answered all of them with my incessant talking.
Thank you, Tom. Amazing. So much good stuff. So dense. I'm like, I know what you're going to say, and I'm still following along closely, and also like making sure we get all these questions. Look at this. Almost 50 Ask a Questions down there. There's a few things I wanted to kind of just clear up and kind of talk just a little bit more about based on some of the questions we've seen come in. Our team is doing an amazing job of answering those very quickly. So if you did ask a question either now or at the end of the session, you can that section will be there forever, so you can go review our answers as well. We've got some helpful links down in there and some more detailed answers for some things. But a couple of questions that came up that I just wanted to reiterate as well for folks. So some folks are asking, will these changes apply to my existing courses on my Mighty Network that I'm already running? The answer is yes. As soon as this release goes out, all of these options, splitting up the table of contents, turning on and off these posts, adding more data, that's all going to be in your existing courses as well, and for any future courses that you create in your Mighty Network.
Yeah, and let me just add there, this is one of the reasons we're giving this sneak peeks. We're going to try to give you a lot of information early on about this, because if somebody just started a course, a week ago, and they start to get used to how things are, it's suddenly going to change on them. So you'll want to kind of prep them for that. And so we're trying to prep you with all the information so that you can prep them, so that you don't have a lot of confusion and a sudden change.
Exactly. And as I said in the beginning, and I think Tom has mentioned as well, you do have to be on our business plan to create and use and sell courses inside your Mighty Network. But if you're on a free trial, or maybe you tried out courses a while ago and you're back to see what's up, and maybe you downgraded and you're ready to come back, all that stuff is still there. You just need to toggle back on the courses feature, and you'll get all of these great features with anything you created in the past or during a free trial. So just keep that in mind. It's not lost. So this is a great time to get ready for that release. Question came back again. When is this happening? So the first week of March is what we're aiming for. And this ties into another question I just saw. I don't know if I got answered, but I just wanted to mention it. Tom, thank you, by the way, for bringing up community design. So many amazing reviews coming in. You guys are amazing. I'm so glad it's been so valuable for you. Essentially, it's a framework for launching a successful community with training or courses or workshops or whatever you want it to be on our platform, and doing that successfully so you can create something that essentially runs itself, something so valuable that you can charge money for it. And you don't need to wait until these features are out to take community design. In fact, I would say hop in now if you're ready to start learning about how to set up your network successfully, really hone in on your messaging and understand how you're going to offer amazing value to your members when you do get ready to launch. Maybe it's come March when these features are out. That will set you up for success. So a couple things I also just wanted to clarify, Tom. We've had a lot of questions ever since the word duplication came up.
Yep.
I just want to kind of briefly touch on that. So let's clarify what you can duplicate, or what you will be able to duplicate in this first release coming up in March. Yeah.
So it's just courses for right now. To just make that real clear, we have built the frameworks and the kind of processes to do it on more things. So we will roll that out, but we didn't want to try at the expense of getting all this stuff out right and on time and without bugs to just, do too much at once. And so we constrained it to courses for now, but it will roll out onto other post types and including events very soon. But I can't give an exact date on that. It's in our planning for the next releases.
Yeah, events was the big question there, so I'm glad you mentioned that. Okay, here's another thing I think would be great to clarify. A lot of folks are kind of unclear what an activity feed is inside a course. Like, basically, and this is where we have a really unique model. Tom, started us out today by really talking about, for us, what's so important is combining community and a course in the same place. Do you want to touch on that a little bit more, and the difference between a group in a Mighty Network and a course in a Mighty Network?
Yeah. So the activity feed is basically the place where people can come free form and create posts, and you can kind of decide what they can create. They could create events if you want to allow them to, or they can just do what we call quick posts, which are the kind of lowest level, easy, just a chat, like almost a chat, not a chat, but like a little quick statement or like whatever it is, whatever kind of little thing you want to put out into what we would say is the community. Like it reaches the people who are there in that space or place. And so that's what the activity feed is. And so unlike what you'd call the table of contents, which is the ordered list of items that you go through that are basically like posts, like you go through and you read the information, and there might be comments, but it's very kind of structured. The activity feed is all you have in a group. And so the group, if all you want to do is have a space that's kind of separate from the main Mighty Network where people can just talk back and forth and write things and share photos or whatever it is they want to do, that's great. That's what a group is for. That's the magic of a group. If you need that structure, you need to organize things in groupings, lessons and sections, whatever you want to name those, in the table of contents, whatever you want to name that, then you want to use a course for that. And then keep in mind, you can rename the word courses, so you can call that libraries. Or whatever, lots of things, not coming to mind at the moment. But then inside of that, you can have all this structure. It's all structured nicely. You can turn off the activity feed in those courses now and just have a bunch of information in there. If you want it to be about people talking and that's all, then that's what a group is for. If you want both together, mixed, that's what our course feature does so well now, is that you can tune it to, if you want a lot of community and a little less content, or it's all about that structure, you can tune it to that.
Yeah, and this speaks a little bit to, Mara just had a great question here. It'd be nice to be able to upgrade a group into a course someday. Totally get that. I think for now, what's nice is you can create a course, a read-only experience, or maybe just comments on the lessons, like kind of as we showed you earlier today, and then add on the activity feed after the course, right? So you can essentially add that group feature later. Maybe someday we'll get to reversing that as well. Yep. But that's kind of a good way to think about that. Yeah, okay, we have so many good questions here. I think we covered a lot of it. Was there one other thing I wanted to mention? I know my team is still going through a lot of these fantastic questions about affiliates and things like that. So we'll let you know in the comments, if that's coming. Like, we have an ambassador program today. I think somebody mentioned already that you can, set up and track who's referred who to your Mighty Network in a really nice way. All that data is going to be in that member export file on the business plan that Tom talked about, that's getting a nice facelift. And you can use that information to track, essentially like have your own manual affiliate program, and then, do payouts in Stripe, if that makes sense, if you have people who are leading courses for you and things like that. So lots of opportunities there. We've had a few questions as I'm looking here just about incorporating live webinars. And I think this is the great thing to piggyback off of what we were just talking about with a course having the same features as a group. Something we didn't touch on much today is that in every course you create in your Mighty Network, you have the option to turn on events inside that course. It's a really nice toggle on or off, depending on if your course, if it makes sense in your course to have, live Zoom calls or webinars or any kind of virtual event where you're bringing your students, your members together in one place in real time. So I would say, yes, explore that for live events. You can switch that on inside your course. If you guys join Community Design, you'll see how we do that. We've got the course material side by side with a series of live events inside each course that we run ourselves. So definitely possible. Have a look at our help center for some tips on how to set that up as well. Okay. This is so good. We will be tackling some of these additional questions I'm pulling into Ask a Question below. But otherwise, I just wanted to thank all of you for such a great session. So many good questions, and just the enthusiasm is amazing. We're just so happy to be doing this for you, doing this with you, and helping you create businesses that are doing just amazing things in this world with some awesome people. So we're really excited about what you all are going to do with these features. Keep the stories coming at us. Share with us in Mighty Hosts, what you're planning for this new course update. Maybe you have some creative ideas when you go back to the drawing board about how you're going to really take this to the next level this year. So please tell us more about what you're working on. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you to Shin, Catherine, Jessica, and Marnie, who have been amazing with answering questions. If you asked a question and you haven't seen an answer yet, we're going to continue answering those right down there and Ask a Question as soon as we end the broadcast today. Also, you can always talk to us as well after this. If you have more technical questions, you want to know about upgrading or more questions about these features, write into our team using help@mightynetworks.com. That's for everybody, no matter what your plan you're on. If you're a free trial or just exploring Mighty, if you are already on the business plan or the community plan, you have priority support through that little host help button in the bottom right corner of your own Mighty Network. So use that to reach out so you can get a quicker reply from our team and we can help you out. So thank you. Watch the recording here. Look out for more announcements as well coming soon in email and in your network. So
Yep.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.